God loves you so much, he's going to burn you up for not loving him back. Sounds like a deranged, abusive ex-lover rather than the God of the Bible. Let's unpack this, but before we do, please like and share this video and subscribe to BP, the Bible Perspective. And as always, if you have a thought or comment, add it to the comment section below. All comments are welcome. I want to unpack a video from an atheist I have been seeing on YouTube. These little short little clips. And this video, which I guess is an argument against the biblical God, the biblical salvation of God, the eternal judgment of God, as they would see it as nonsense. And so they kind of craft this argument to make God, one, look like a deranged ex-lover, okay, abusive ex-lover, and we see this all the time where women are at most risk from these kinds of deranged ex-lovers. They get killed all the time. They get beaten up all the time. Acid thrown in their face. Well, this is the picture that this atheist is trying to paint of God. And they make it seem like he's deranged, insane. So I'm going to play the video. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to unpack the video. So here we go.
God loves you so much that he will burn you up for not loving him back. And it's pretty simple, actually, because he created you as a sinner because he loves you and he hates sin. Okay, so he decided what was a sin and then put it inside you. And then you got to get it out, right? So he said, I'll send my son and kill him because the sin I put in you, I hate it. And I'll burn you up for it. And so he sent his son and then killed him so he could get rid of the sin that he put in you because he hates it. But God loves.
All right. So to me, if that's the argument that you want to make against God, okay. Now, if the biblical account was true, then yes, it paints a pretty bad picture of God, that he's stupid, he's deranged, jilted, okay? If that's the picture. But then on the other side, if the best way that you can make your argument against God is to fabricate a complete bad argument, non-factual argument, then your argument is pretty silly itself. Now let's go back and we're going to unpack her statements, and I'm going to show you why.
God loves you so much that he will burn you up for not loving him back.
So God loves you so much that he's going to burn you up for not loving you back. Okay, jilted lover. But that's not the biblical narrative, right? That's not the biblical narrative. That's not why God is burning you up, because you're not loving him back. So what is the biblical knowledge? Well, I mean, the biblical narrative. God is judging the wicked. So if you're being burnt up, it's because you are wicked. Well, who defines what wickedness? Going to make the statement. Who define what sin is, and then what bad is? Well, that falls into the hands of God, being though, get it, God. And since you're using the biblical narrative is that God declares he created all things, which means everything is a result of God's creation, which makes God sovereign over his creation, whether you like it or not. And the fact that God gave you free will, you benefit from that to the point that you can lie on him, as this video is doing, and reject him. However, because God said, guess what? I can do with my creation as I please. So let's keep that in context, because you don't have to go to hell.
And it's pretty simple, actually, because he created you as a sinner because he loves.
So he created you as a sinner, misrepresenting the biblical narrative. Adam was not created a sinner. Adam was created perfect. In fact, he had an endless life. He had a perfect life, a beautiful life. He had everything. Literally, Adam had the entire world at his disposal. Not only did he have the entire world, but his personal home, the Garden of Eden. He chose to sin against God, in which God had already told him, don't eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. On the day that you eat of the tree, you will die. So no, God did not create Adam a sinner. That's a false narrative that the video is purposely trying to paint of God.
You and he hates sin. Okay, so he decided what was a sin and then put it inside you.
Again, another false narrative. Now, what is true, God does decide what is sin and what is not sin, because that's his prerogative as God. What is not true is that God then put the sin in man, because the narrative here, you can see that is shaping up that God is going to be unfair, that he put the sin in you. Now it's going to destroy you for the very sin that he put in you. That's a false narrative. Now, this is again a purposeful false narrative to try to paint God in a certain negative way. Okay.
And then you got to get it out, right? So he said, I'll send my son and kill him because the sin I put in you, I hate it.
So again, I'm going to send my son to kill him because of the sin I put in you, I hate. Another false narrative. The Bible does say, because Adam sinned, he did say, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him will not perish but have everlasting life.
And I'll burn you up for it. And so he sent his son and then killed him so he could get rid of the sin that he put in you because he hates it. But God loves.
So you see, this narrative, not even a good narrative, right? There's not even a good argument. That you will say that the sin, God put the sin in, but he hates the sin, but he put it in you, and then turn around and now it's going to kill his son to get the sin that he put in you that he hates. That's not even a good argument to try to disparage the biblical narrative. Why not tell me how good atheism is? Why, how about telling me how good life and existence can be without this God, rather than just simply lie and paint a false picture of the true and living God? And one other thing is that I never hear atheists talk about this one promise, that in that giving of his son, because he loves us, that he also makes us his son, whereby we cry out to him, Abba, Father, this term of endurement, that we become heirs of God and then joint heirs with his son, Jesus Christ. So while the video paints this crazed lunatic stalking God, it fails to tell me, give me a better option than when I accept Jesus based upon God's promise that he makes me or adopts me as his son and makes me an heir and a co-heir with Jesus, that I can have this intimate relationship with him, that I can call him Abba, Father. Now that's the narrative that I would rather go with. All right, guys, I'll see you next time.